Welcome to our channel, SHÉSTYLÉ. If you love to learn wisdom, please just subscribe us. Today we are going to learn the Ice Age.
An ice age is a period of time when the earth is largely covered with ice. Believe it or not, some would say we are an ice age right now. Really? We are? Well, sort of. If you look at our planet today, both Greenland and Antarctica were covered with deep sheets of ice. So it's not far-fetched an idea we're in a small ice age. However, when people talk about ice age, they're usually described at a time of ancient history when nearly 1/3 of our planet was layered in ice. What we are going to look at today is an ancient ice age lasts almost 1,000 years from 300 BC to 1600 BC. Creation scientists believe started as a result of Noah's flood. Do you think
I think you will
like this lesson?
First, let's consider what happens to the earth when it snows. In an ordinary winter, snow falls to the earth in piles and drifts, which are awfully fun to play in. When the air warms, the snow melts into puddles and eventually evaporates back into the atmosphere. Where during an ice age, the air doesn't grow warm enough to melt snow. It piles up for hundreds of years. When this happens, the snow gets heavily weighted down and turns into solid ice sheets, ice caps, and glaciers. This you cannot play in. Let me describe these magnificent formations a little bit more.
Ice sheets like those in Greenland today, large flat areas, and remain stationary. That means they don't move. Ice caps are just like ice sheets, except they are found at the poles of the earth. Antarctica for the examples of the continental ice caps found at the South Pole. Glaciers are huge layers of ice found on the slopes of mountains and also in valleys. Unlike
ice sheets
that are hardly do glaciers move. Why do they move? Well, glaciers are so heavy that gravity slowly puts them downward, especially when the earth warms up and they start to melt.
The earth is full of evidence showing us where massive glaciers have straps and scratched our planet in the past. We call this cracks, striations in the earth. Some ancient glaciers carved out deep gorges and U-shaped valley when they traveled. Good examples in North America are Yosemite Valley and the beautiful Grand Canyon, which are formed by melting glaciers.
If you can imagine imagine a glacier on the move. It would be strong enough to push giant boulders and rock into some unusual place. We still see these big rocks move a long time ago in a place called Moo Lake, Yellowstone National Park, and the south of Germany. We call these rocks Eric of the odd way they were carried and dropped. What?
Dropped in an ice age. Other formations created by sliding glaciers are moraines. These are large ridges of dirt and soil pushed along and left behind by the melting sheets of ice. Kettle lakes are bodies of water scattered across the northern hemisphere where some glaciers sunk into the earth. The Great Lakes in North America are an example of melted glaciers. Glaciers.
So I think you'll get the picture of what Ice Age has done so our planet over the years that it left some particular marks to show that there have been Ice Age ages. However, scientists don't agree on when the Ice Age
occurred and how many
there were, nor
do they
agree what
on what causes them.
Some believe our Earth has several ice ages spanning millions of years. It also theorized that a tittle in this Earth
as well as decreased
level in carbon dioxide can cause an ice age.
Let's consider the Bible and how it ties in with the things the earth has shown us. Remember the great flood of Noah. Genesis chapter 7 and 11 tells the catastrophic upheaval. It says of the flood, all the foundations of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. The first part of this passage may be describing great volcanoes and earthquakes that erupted in the ocean floor. They could have caused the earth's crust to break and the continents to shift. The second part of this passage could be describing the collapse of water vapor canopy that some theorize was put in place at creation.
Genesis 7:24-8 said how the water
Prevailed
on the earth 150 days before the foundations of the deep, and the windows of heavens were stopped, and
that
means there was
going
turmoil the planet. While Noah's Ark and his family held on to the dear life aboard the ark.
Let's look again at those volcanoes and earthquakes. They would have done many things. They would have warmed up the oceans from the escape of heat deep within the earth. They could have filled filled the sky with ash to block the sun and cool the air. They would have pushed up mountains high enough to collect snow. They would have caused numerous tsunamis or great tidal waves. All these conditions could contribute to an ice age.
By the way, if an ice age did or after the Great Flood, as creation scientists believe Noah's descendants were eyewitness to it. Where did they find it? Ice age appeared that in North America, the ice sheets and glaciers ascended as far south as the
Missouri and Ohio rivers. In Europe, we see evidence of ice as far south as Germany. All of Canada, Scandinavia, and northern England were under ice. So many probably didn't try to live there, but he could have survived and multiplied in other places where there was no ice at all.
Furthermore, if an ice age did also occur after the Great Flood, then the world would be of fossils, which are remains of the animals quickly buried in a usually replaced with minerals found underwater. There are fossils like all of this over the world. Yes, 95% of them in the marine animals, as would be accepted from the flood.
A last interesting result of the ice age is this: with tons of ocean water locked up in ice, the level of the sea would have dropped into exposed land bridges. A perfect example of this is the Bering Strait that connects Asia and North America. It is believed that after the flood, mankind and animals could have walked across the strait and migrated to the end of America. Land bridges probably also connected England to mainland Europe and Australia to New Guinea. Isn't that fascinating to think about?
In closing, remember this simple fact: water cool things off right. So it is quite feasible that one result of Noah's flood was the cooling of the ark to bring on the ice age. As a Christian, I find it comfortable to know that God's word can be trusted to give us a simple but exaggerated account of the history of this world. I hope you find it comfortable that too.